Good evening. A little bit of a different look right now, as I got sick over the weekend, and I guess I'm technically still getting over it. And then Sarah got hit pretty hard with it yesterday, so she's sick. So we're all in quarantine for at least a week or so. And I'm having to record this from home. Thought I'd do it outside so that you wouldn't hear the kids screaming, because if it is indoors, you will hear them screaming, no doubt about that. But I know this is a really strange time right now. We've had it pretty hard as a church. You know, we had the few months there where we couldn't meet together, and that was really hard on everybody. Then we were able to come back together for a few weeks, and that was great. We really enjoyed seeing each other and getting to spend time together again. And then all of a sudden it changes in about a week, as the number of cases here in our county has spiked really high, and even several of our number have tested positive over the last week. So we can't be together again. We really don't have a choice in that right now. The eldership made a tough decision last week, and I think they absolutely made the right decision there. They really made the only decision they could make for what's going on right now. And I know the questions everybody's probably asking right now. When are we going to be able to have services again? When's that going to be? How long are we going to be out this time? When we do get to come back together again, what's going to stop all this from happening again? When's the end to all this? I know that's the question that everyone's answering, or is asking. And unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that. Jeff and Britt, they don't have the answer to that either. None of us do. I wish there was a solid answer, but there isn't. I am reminded, however, of one particular passage I want to look at tonight just briefly. It's in Joshua chapter 1. If you have a Bible near you, turn there. Joshua chapter 1. Israel right here is dealing with uncertain circumstances, kind of like we are. Totally different circumstances, obviously, but the common denominator there is it's uncertain. It's unusual what's going on. For decades, Israel had been led by Moses. Moses was the one person who was really holding it all together. Yeah, he had Aaron to help him, but even Aaron made some pretty big mistakes in his time. So Moses was the glue holding everything together as they spent all that time in the wilderness wandering. And then all of a sudden, Moses was gone. Moses wasn't around anymore, and leadership passed on to Joshua. And then here in chapter 1, under new leadership, Israel is standing at the foot of standing across the Jordan. They're there at the promised land, ready to take it over. And everything was so uncertain. They spent, 40 years in the wilderness. And obviously that's not where they wanted to be, in the wilderness. But I think, 40 years anywhere, that's going to become almost comfortable to you. You're going to get used to that situation. And then all of a sudden, they're presented with the promised land that God had promised them so long ago. They knew they had to take it over. They knew they had to conquer the land and drive out the people, but it was all new to them. And they were doing all that under new leadership. It's a really scary time for Israel. I have to imagine they were asking some really big questions there of Joshua and really of God in general. And here in chapter 1, God gives them advice. God commands Joshua to instruct the people. And there's a lot here. We're really just going to focus in on one verse here. It's verse 9. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. This is what God said. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That was God's advice. Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed, but be courageous. For one reason. There's one reason why they could be courageous. It's not because of their strength. They weren't going to be strong enough to conquer the promised land by themselves. It wasn't going to be because of their faithfulness. That's not why they should be courageous. We know their track record with faithfulness. But the end of verse 9 there tells them why they could be courageous. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. They're assured that God had been with them every step of the way. He had taken them to where they are now, and he was not going to leave them now. When they had the biggest challenge ahead of them, God wasn't going to abandon them. He was going to be with them every step of the way. And I can take a lot of courage in that verse, and I can certainly apply it to our times right now. As a church, we've had hard times before. There's no doubt about that. And God has carried us through those, right? No doubt about that. God has been with us every step of the way. And I certainly believe that in these uncertain times when things are so scary, so worrisome to us, God's going to continue to be there for us. So take this verse to heart. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. Listen to it. Believe in it. Have faith in God that He is going to carry us through, not because of our strength, not because of our faithfulness, but because of His. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Hope everybody stays safe. Don't know when we're going to be together again. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But until then, be courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed. Keep praying. That's probably the best thing we can do right now. Keep praying and keep loving one another. And we'll see you when we see you.